Good morning, or good afternoon, most likely good evening. You know how my schedule goes. Sometimes I have a plan and it just doesn't work that way and then it gets extended. But now that we're here, we got a few things to cover. We got to cover the AsmonGold covering Assassin's Creed and what they got going on with Shadows. Then we got to cover the Marvel Rivals dev team. That's a mouthful. Almost got me there. Marvel Rivals dev team being laid off, which there's a lot of misinformation about that. And then lastly, my take on the Marvel Rival situation and my final take on the game. Let's go ahead and get it started.
Yep, that's right. I don't give a about how many flips she can do. If I want to see that, I go watch the Olympics.
And basically what he's referring to is basically playing with a samurai versus playing with a ninja character. He'd rather go to battle versus flipping, hiding, and doing all that. He'd rather just go out there and whoop ass, which a lot of people just want to go out there and whoop ass. But let's go ahead and let it continue.
A guy. It's like Ubisoft is afraid to make a game where you just play as a ninja in Assassin's Creed. They have to have a warrior in there somewhere for people who want to run around killing everything without having.
So this guy actually brings up a really great point, and I think that this point of view is something that Ubisoft needs to take consideration into, especially for the fact that like Assassin's Creed, I don't like stealth games. Straight up, I don't find them fun.
And that's when we go to the second point. When you stick to the purest form of a game, sometimes it just isn't what that is. And if you want to have more people, sometimes you got to change things up. You got to switch it up. And Assassin's Creed was cool and all, but it's, in my opinion, it's outdated. It's overdone and outdated. Now, the reason why games like Grand Theft Auto can get away with that is because you can constantly update Grand Theft Auto because there's always something different happening in the culture. Being able to do what the hell you want to in a game will never get old. There's always a game and a time and a place for that, which is how Grand Theft Auto still to this day coming into 6 is still one of, like, people are afraid to drop games around it just because how much power it has as a game. Does that make sense? So sometimes longevity can pay off based on what it is you're doing, but some things just run their course.
So in a way, Assassin's Creed as a game, if it appeals to me, it's losing its grasp on its original identity. Does that make sense? Because like by appealing to a person that is not interested in these kinds of games, then it would be obvious that, you know, like they're trying to, like, I think they did this with Valhalla, right? And I noticed this a lot because like I watched Shroud play it and Shroud wasn't sneaking around that much, right? He was just killing people. And I was like, well, is this really Assassin's Creed?
And that's the same thing that I said when I saw it. I was like, I don't really see too much assassin movement going on. And a lot of people that I talked to who played it, they were very fond of the going out there whooping ass aspect of the game, which comes to the next point. It comes a point in time when you just have to make another game instead of trying to milk the same game in the same formula. They keep trying to milk it. Oh man, people, they really like Assassin's Creed. Like when we did 2 and 3 and the hype was crazy. So now we could do Assassin's Creed 25. No, dude, make a new freaking game. You get what I'm saying? Like this new Assassin's Creed should have been something completely different. I promise you, if Ubisoft would have stopped trying to milk stuff and being lazy and would have named this something, if you would have just said Legacy, a Samurai Legacy, or just something different, or Shogun, like just something simple, but it would have been, you got a ninja girl and then you got a samurai and y'all 2 players, so y'all can get on the team and play co-op. And y'all basically you're trying to take the Shogun down, he's corrupt or whatever. Completely fictional game, got nothing to do with nothing. People wouldn't even have cared about the Yasuke situation, if that's his name. I don't even know, I don't care. But basically the samurai, they wouldn't even have cared because it would have been based in a fictional game in a fictional world, and you could have maybe added a little upgrade tree and some little powers here and there. And then when you're getting combos, getting a bunch of points, or not taking damage, you're able to upgrade it faster because you're racking up point bonuses. Just something real simple and kind of arcadey with more of a realism kind of feel to it. That's it. It wasn't rocket science. You didn't need to do all that. Like, just make a fun game. But y'all so caught up in the hype trying to milk the sun. You are not Mario. Like, you're not Mario Kart. You're not Mario Party. You're not Grand Theft Auto. You're not Forza. You're none of these. You're not a legacy game. Like, just honestly, you're not a legacy game that you could just keep updating every year. You're not Madden. You're not 2K, and they're ruining those games too. But you're not those games. You're not. Get over it. Just make another game. And not even make another game. Just stop trying to milk what's there, because then there's expectations and you don't meet them, leading to another failure. And this is what irritates me about a lot of y'all. All of us tell you what we want. We tell you, we want this. Don't do that. Don't make it this way. And what do? You say, I'm gonna do what I want, how I want, the way that I want, and you fail. And then you wonder why when the administration comes in and everybody starts getting fired. You wonder why everybody starts getting let go, because you're not selling. You're not listening to what the gamers are telling you. And you constantly say that we hate y'all and we want you to lose your jobs. We never said that. We said it when you kept disrespecting us as gamers. That's when we got more aggressive and was like, well, you need to lose your job. If you do not do what the consumer is requesting, you should be fired. That's common sense. You're messing up the profit margin. You're gonna take the company down, right? So they say we have a disdain for them when it's the other way around, and we're sitting here telling you, dude, just do this. And you're like, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to do it my way. Well, okay then. Well, you will fail with your way too. You know what I'm saying?
Like, what is this? And so now they've created an audience of people that want to play, because like Valhalla was the last big one, right? And so they want to capitalize off of that audience that they brought in. But I think also at the same time, it's going to be hard for them to reconcile their original audience and make it basically also an Assassin's Creed game.
Okay, so this is where we pose this question. Why would you even try to milk it to Valhalla? Why wasn't Valhalla just Valhalla? Valhalla didn't have anything to do with Assassin's Creed, nor should it have. Why wasn't Valhalla a standalone game? Because you were like, oh, just put Assassin's Creed on it, and then people will buy it because of the name, because of the legacy name. So you're doing a milk it strategy versus just saying, check this game out. Check the gameplay's the gameplay. It doesn't matter what the name is on it, because if the name mattered that much, Wukong wouldn't have sold that much. If the name mattered, what was it? Astrobot wouldn't have sold that much. It's the game that's selling, but y'all keep trying to tack a name on it. You still got the same marketing budget. It didn't change. So you guys have yourselves to blame for your failures. Point blank, period. Don't blame us. Blame yourself.
And so I think that as a long-term fan of Assassin's Creed, I could feel very frustrated about this if I was one. I'm not.
To worry about the boring stealth crap, which I mean, to at least some extent I get. I do kind of understand the thought process here. I don't hate the idea of getting the options. I just worry about one of those options making it so that the development of both of those options was effort diverted that could have been put into one thing that would have been better. I guess
that's actually a great point that he's bringing up, is that he's absolutely right that by adding in two protagonists and by doing that, you are spending development time on something that you could have created the ninja experience and made it even better.
Or it could have just been a whole nother game that's co-op. For whatever reason, they won't just make a co-op game. They just assume people ain't got friends or something, or people don't want to play together in the same game. It would have been extremely simple to just make it a co-op narrative game how it used to be. What is wrong with that? This is why things are failing. Like, why are you even trying to do it that way? Like, I don't even understand the logic behind the way they're trying to make this game. I don't get it. Like, what is so hard about that? Why? This shows that you have very incompetent people running the company. Why would you overcomplicate this? If there's two characters, if there's two selectable characters, why not just make it co-op? I don't get it. Just make it co-op, because now what they do is every single game that's co-op has to be a looter shooter. Whatever happened to just making a cool ass co-op game? Even that Mortal Kombat game that came out, I can't even remember the name of it. I think it was Shaolin Monks.
With little Onis on my case, like a 4-digit combination lock. They're a tough meal to chew, but thanks to Raiden's tips, I was able to chop them up like chives on a baked potato.
You just picked, it was like Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and you went through whooping ass. It was simple. It wasn't no rocket science. It was an arcadey, fun game. That's all you need, and you gain moves as you go. It's that simple. They didn't need when you use Kung Lao, specifically the story needs to do this, and then man, no, bro, just look. You do this, they do this. Walk through, whoop ass. It's that simple.
That's a great point.
Naoe is fantastic. It doesn't really matter to me. That's who I will play as. And to be frank, Yasuke does at least seem to have some interesting skills. He can smash through walls, for instance. He can shoulder check enemies off cliffs. Got a more traditional combat system with a parry and block. But
let's keep it real, bro. If they had just dropped this joint and called it Black Samurai, it would have sold far better than them attaching Assassin's Creed to it. If he just would have called that whole Black Samurai, no real backstory, no nothing. Just keep it simple. Like, look, bro, I'm a foreigner here. Oh, y'all got an issue? Let's solve that. Let's solve that. It would have been that simple. It'd still be more fun as a co-op. But I promise you, if they just would have kept it simple instead of trying to do all that, Black Samurai, give them a bunch of hard ass moves, and have a choice to take people out or not take them out. And then based on what you do, like how it was on Dishonored, based on who you take down and who you don't, you'll wind up getting more enemies. Man, whatever, dog. I ain't got time, fool. Y'all don't know how to make no game, fool.
He's got access to a traditional samurai sword, along with some bigger weapons like the naginata and the kanabo, the giant cudgel that can smash through armor.
The mace.
Yasuke might sound a little bit like easy mode even, but they're attempting to balance him out by making it so he absolutely sucks at stealth. Climbing is slow and awkward, and don't even think about trying to use tight ropes because they're just going to snap with the weight. His animations play up the fact that he is not built for stealth, which is both kind of interesting and potentially pretty limiting. His stealth basically begins and ends with the bow, which is a silent kill weapon that he has access to that Naoe doesn't. She can be worse in combat, but she actually sounds more unique and interesting as a character to play as, at least from the previews.
So watching this with the completely different fighting styles, with team-up combos, bro, I'm done. I ain't got nothing to say about this. All I'm gonna say is, y'all did it to yourselves. You should have just made it a co-op game and called it something else, gave team attacks and all of that, versus trying to overcomplicate things. It ain't that deep. We do not care. Is the game fun or is it not? Now, let's go ahead and move forward to the next section.
Yeah, go get that money, don't stop.
Now, onto that Rivals team being laid off. It was not the main team, so we're just gonna cut it short. There's an article here from IGN if you want to go ahead and read it. It's not the main team, it's the Seattle branch. It's not, the game's not going to change, all right? Basically, they got cutbacks and they're looking at what they need and what they don't need, and that's how those layoffs hit. But as far as the game's functionality and all of that, that's not a main or a major component to the game's functionality. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing.
Go get that money, don't stop. Go get that.
Now, there's a major misconception in that comment section from the last one when I said why I quit at Diamond rank, well, Diamond 1. Now, I told y'all clear as day. For those of you who listen, obviously you don't have this issue, but for those of you who are a little bit on the spectrum, I said even when I won, I felt like it wasn't a legitimate victory, to where you can't really scale how good you really are, because wins don't really feel like wins, and the losses, some of them do, but not all the losses feel like actual losses, like the straight blowout ones, where there is silly stuff going on in the background on the Rivals ranked. It is, regardless what you have to say about it, it is. But what I will say is, it's so minuscule to the point to where Rivals can't take more blame than the actual players. So I want to give them a fair shake and say there is stuff going on. Like, it's not deniable. Regardless, I don't care what nobody has to say about it, there is. But the biggest factor and the biggest issue is people don't know how to switch it up. So when one thing is working, they'll try to keep trying the same thing, or they just start freestyle picking, and that's not going to work. You're going to have to figure out what will work, what to utilize with who, and who plays what role better. That's going to be the biggest conflict outside of the nonsense going on as far as the game and what they have going on. Because the biggest losses that I've seen are people getting upset because you didn't ban certain things, standing at spawn, picking characters they aren't that good with. Now here's the thing where like I said, with the matchmaking with Rivals, it has people thinking they're a whole lot better at the game than they really are. And that's one of the biggest common issues in ranked later on, because they give people matches and they forcefully make people lose matches. And when I say that, what I'm saying is they are queuing people based on what they're dominating at and queuing them against something that they will not dominate against. Does that make sense? So as far as the ranked, I'm not going to say rigged, okay? I'm not going to put that title on it. But what I will say is a lot of it comes down to player fault and you not really being ranked there. If you can't use more than one hero, it's basically good. I'm not just talking about, oh, I can pick them and use them. If you can't use more than one hero good, you don't belong in Diamond anymore. That's just simply what it is. If you can't rotate, if you can't play at least one hero from each class, you don't belong in Diamond on the low end. That's just, we're gonna start there. And then lastly, this is one other thing that needs to be adjusted, but it's a new game, so you can't really be too harsh. The heals, oh yeah, and that frame rate situation, that needs to be fixed. Because I know where a lot of it's seeming like stuff's happening weird or people are getting their moves back too fast. They need to fix that frame, whatever that frame situation is, they need to fix it. But overall, the biggest thing is healer ults need to have a damage cap. Basically, if you're doing damage to a hero inside of their ult, because you know when the healers go, when they ult, you're impervious. Basically, you're not going to lose enough life unless you get hit with the Scarlet or the Magneto toss. It needs to be like a cap of like 5,000, 6,000. So if you take up the 5,000 to 6,000 in that ult, it should turn the ult off. And then also give other people more of a use, because the one thing that I don't want to see is a bunch of the same character in the high rank. Because if there's nothing but the same few people in the high rank, then that means that there's a game flaw and there's a flaw in the design to where people feel more incentivized. People are gonna pick what, let's just keep it real. People are gonna pick what's more inclined to win or what's most optimal for the matches. Ain't nobody out here trying to, when you put money on the line, ain't nobody out here trying to showcase no kind of skill or nothing to where they're gonna make it harder than it gotta be. So there should not be the same fortified, there shouldn't be automatically cloaks and daggers, there shouldn't be automatically just certain people. There really needs to be some adjustments so that way everybody gets picked, but they've done well. So I don't want to take that away and then be too harsh, because I mean the game ain't even been out a full year. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know, that's all for me. Just wanted to give a fair assessment. But if you kicked it with your boy this long, I appreciate you hanging with me. Links in the description below like always. And in the meanwhile, I'm out. Have a good one.
Real life Mike Tyson.
I'm wilding out on the mic. It's just my audio ain't showing up. That's why if you want anybody laughing, I'm tripping on the mic, man. I'm tripping.
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Intruders detected. Oh, Drax is gonna be so mad he missed this.
They might just surrender, I ain't gonna lie. Oh wait, no, they coming.
Oh boy.
I thought they was gonna surrender. Yep, they surrendered. Your character was literally like, oh boy, here they come. Oh, they surrendered.